Hello and welcome to today's episode of Impact School. Today I am delighted to be joined with Healthy Emmie, who is more formally known as Emily Keith. And honestly, I'm so excited about this episode because, well, you and I, Emily, we've known each other for a while now. I think we first started working together in around the end of 2018 or so. And so I just want to share the story about how we actually first came into contact, because when actually the first thing that I remember of you is like I sent you one of my ebooks to critique it for me, and I was like, this girl, she like has gone in hard, and I was like, I love that type of like just being real. So that's how I first came across you. But do you want to just share the story about how you actually first came in contact with my content, I guess?
Yeah, well, hey everybody, and thank you, Lauren, for having me on Impact School. I have to say it's quite surreal being on here because I used to listen to this podcast every single morning on my run. Literally, I would listen to the same episode over and over and over just to soak in the content. And on my runs, I would say, I'm going to be on this podcast someday. And here I am. And I'm not saying that to be like, woe is me, look at me, I'm on the podcast. I'm saying that for the person listening to this who is thinking the same thing and has a dream. And I want to tell that person listening to this podcast that it will happen so long as you listen to everything that we say on this episode. But I stumbled upon Lauren through this podcast. As I became a certified nutritionist, I started looking into podcasts about building your business, being a health coach, and I fell into Lauren's content. And she said she had a Facebook group, so I joined the Facebook group and posted in there and just sort of got involved in her community. And just like Lauren said, she sent me an ebook and I edited it for her. And then a little bit later on, I reached out to Lauren and said, hey, everybody is saying that when you don't know what you're doing, invest in a coach. So can I invest in you? And here I am today. And so that was 8 or 9 months ago. And now I'm sitting here as an entrepreneur.
Yes, that is so interesting that you actually first came across me from my podcast, because podcast analytics, I know you are obviously massive on YouTube. Everyone listening, Emmie has like the most awesome YouTube channel and her tribe are like obsessed with her, which is really, really cool. But podcasting isn't really like that. Like for all we know right now, there could be thousands of people listening, but I never get to see those analytics because they don't give you that information on the podcast. So I know that I get way more shares of Impact School than I get shares of my Instagram posts or of my YouTube videos or anything. So I'm pretty sure that there's a bigger audience here than anywhere else, but I don't actually know, which is fascinating to hear that you actually stumbled across me directly from that. So that's really cool. And podcasting is super fun, and it means that I get to now share your story with everyone here today, because I really want to talk about how you, despite never believing that you were able to actually make this happen for yourself, how you've actually gone and you started off as a one-on-one coach, then you started working with me, and then we really created like a scalable business model for you while you were simultaneously building your brand. And let's just tell everyone, what you actually doing in your life when we were first actually working together, your job.
Right. Okay. So yeah, we'll back it up a little bit. So to give you context of where I am now, I'm 24 years old, living in Boston, and I own my own business as a vegan nutritionist. But that was not the case about 9 months ago. We'll back it up a little bit further.
That was not the case about 2 months ago.
I went to college. Oh yeah, even still 2 months ago, my life has done a whirlwind. You guys are I hope you're sitting down. If you're driving, pull over to listen to how much your life can change in a short period of time.
Yeah.
So we'll start from the beginning. I went to college just like any other gal, and I majored in math education to become a math teacher. I graduated, got a job as an algebra and geometry teacher in Boston. And I was 23 years old teaching in Boston, and that was that was my simple life. But I had this little dream of being a YouTuber, and I had a YouTube channel on the side. I had a pretty small following then, and it was just my side gig. And the reason why it was my side gig was because I had a fear that I wasn't going to be successful in it. And I sort of thought that success was something that there was a limit to, and there wasn't enough of it to go around. And I thought that everybody else had plucked the flowers from the success garden, and it was just barren, and I'd missed out on my opportunity. And then it was winter in Boston. And if you've experienced winter in Boston, you know that it is miserable. And I sort of had this vision of myself on my deathbed. And I was looking back on my life and I thought, oh my God, Emily, you wasted your life on an average life. And there was so much more you could have done, and it could have been so much more extraordinary, but you settled for simple. And so I decided at 23 as a math teacher in Boston that I was going to pick up my life and move to Australia, because that was where I was going to start this new life of mine. So the school year ended and I did exactly that. I moved to Australia and I became a teacher over there, but really I was there to fulfill my dream, which was to be a YouTuber and to be a nutritionist. So I enrolled in school as a nutritionist and became a full-time teacher. And it was in November that I reached out to Lauren and I said, hey, I have this YouTube channel and I'm a nutritionist, help. And so Lauren helped me scale my business from being a certified nutritionist, helping a few clients one-on-one, to tremendously impacting hundreds and hundreds of people, to the point where we had set the goal that I didn't want to go back to being a teacher in the fall of 2019. That was our goal. But it got to the point where I actually had to leave my teaching job in March because my business just, it blew up tremendously, to the point where I could not do teaching and this at the same time.
I remember you saying to me, oh yeah, I just don't want to be going back in fall, which is like, for any English people, that's like autumn time, kind of like, I don't know, it's like mainly September or October kind of time. I was like, honey, you do not know me. Like, there is no way that is happening. And so I was, honestly, when we first started working together, I was kind of a bit hesitant at first, I must admit, because I was only working with a very small select amount of influencers at that time to help them build their businesses, but the majority of them were like full-time in this. And so I was thinking, okay, am I going to be able to make this work for Emmie, who's still in a full-time job? And obviously the proof was in the pudding that this system works even if you're in a full-time job, which is so cool. And I am honestly I'm so proud of you, because it's so amazing to see how many people whose lives you're changing, while also building a life for yourself that you actually want to be living. Because I think it has to be both ways. You can be slaving over content and producing all the free content in the world, but you can have no real business. And I find that that's where a lot of influencers are. At the same time, you can have a business which is earning a killing, and let's say you're doing like drop shipping, e-commerce or something, and it's super unfulfilling and unrewarding because you're not changing people's lives. So how many clients do you have right now?
In total, I have 60 clients, and I've just signed another 20 for my next program.
That is amazing.
It is crazy town. It's incredible. And I'm so grateful and so blessed.
Okay, so I just kind of want to talk about, I guess, because a lot of people right now, this probably sounds unrealistic to them, and I think that a lot of people will think, okay, well, yeah, she was able to do that because of this or because of that, but this happened in a really short period of time. I really want to just further emphasize that. So let's just like put this out on a timeline here about how this happened, the sort of time frame which we're speaking with. So you were working with clients one-on-one. When did you start working with people one-on-one?
Sure. So I became certified as a nutritionist back in September. And I was doing it on my own. You know, I had a few clients, maybe a handful of clients. And then in November, I reached out to Lauren and I decided to invest in Lauren. And thank you for your honesty, by the way, in saying that you were scared, because I'll match you on that. I was scared out of my mind for two reasons. The first was that if it didn't work, I was screwed. Financially, the amount that I was investing was more than I was making as a teacher.
Wait, oh my gosh, let's tell them how much you were getting paid as a teacher.
I was not getting paid enough as a teacher to cover even guys, I just can, the risk that I took. I mean, I don't want to name numbers, so I'm not going to, but the amount that I was making as a teacher was not enough to cover the investment of investing in Lauren as a mentor. And then on top of that, I had rent, car insurance, bills, Wi-Fi. I had to eat. So if it didn't work, I was screwed, let alone mentioning I was alone in a foreign country on the other side of the world. So I was scared out of my mind for that reason. And the second reason was there's no guarantee. And everybody wants a guarantee. They want a guarantee that things are going to work. And if you want a guarantee, I'll give you a guarantee. Do nothing, because then that's a guarantee that you're never going to reach your dreams and that you're going to live a simple life. And so I was like, this has to work. I'm going to feel the fear, do it anyway, and just jump in, because whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. So I just believed that I could do it, and I took that leap of faith, and it paid off. So I invested in Lauren in November. We started working together December 1st. So December 1st, I had maybe 6 one-on-one clients, maybe. And that was all I could get. And it wasn't that I was doing anything wrong. It was that I didn't have a system in place. I didn't have a system. I didn't know how to scale. I didn't know what scale meant. I didn't know what system meant. I have a degree in math education. I was a baby giraffe. And so Lauren was my mentor. She was my saving grace. But so we started working together in December, which, mind you guys, is the worst time to start your business as a health and fitness coach, because people are coming off Thanksgiving, they're headed into Christmas, they got their winter bodies on, nobody wants to spend money. So what we did in December was we built my model. And then we launched my first program in January. My first program, we got about 15 clients, I would say. And then I was still working full-time as a teacher. So that was all on the side, getting up before school, staying up late at the end of the day.
Let's quickly dive in on that. So what does it take to build? Because obviously for me, I was building my business when I was also in a full-time job. But okay, bearing in mind, like, it's not easy, but you're also a YouTuber, right? So let's just explain all the different things, because you are very similar to me in this sense, and very similar to our listeners, because our listeners, a lot of them are in the fitness, health, mindset type industry. They train. So that's the first thing. You go to the gym or you go for runs, so you're exercising. That's part of your day. You also have your full-time job. That's part of your day. Or maybe you're a student, which is also going to be part of your day. Not only that, but then you're making YouTube videos, Instagram content, perhaps it's podcasts, and then it's the business. So there's like 4 components here, not to mention that, it's kind of important to socialize every now and then, even if you are kind of a bit of a loner like me. But how were you actually able to like juggle all these different things? What were a few quick tips that we can give our listeners today to help them actually make this a reality?
Right. So the most important thing that I learned, Lauren, which I want, if you are listening, let this be the one thing that you take away. It is that the messiest, smallest, most disorganized action is 10,000 times more effective than the most perfect, laid out, grandiose intention. Take messy action. Whether it's getting up and going on your story with no makeup on, or putting up a YouTube video that's not perfect, just take that messy action and do something. Put something out into the world that's going to help people every day. I had to go from being my perfectionist, oh, this YouTube video is perfect, I love it, to being, okay, I have to get up at 4:30, go for my run, edit a YouTube video in an hour, go to school all day, film more stuff after school where my makeup's not perfect, I don't have as much energy, then go on my call with Lauren, and then get on the phone with clients. And it's all going to be really messy, but just take the action and put something out into the world every single day. Get rid of that perfectionist mindset. Don't fear perfection, because you're never going to reach it anyway. We will never reach perfection. And messy action is just the name of the game here. Just take messy action. It's not going to be perfect. And people love that it's not perfect because it's you.
Yeah, I could not agree more. Something that I love to say is that perfectionism is just procrastination bundled up all fancy with a nice little bow on top of it. And it's so easy to make an excuse as to why you're not moving forward, because you're like, oh, but this isn't right, or oh, this edit needs to be made, or oh, this, and this. And I can already imagine you in school, Emmie, like where you're the girl who has like all the pens that are like the perfect colors and all of your notes are color coded. I can literally imagine that was you. Am I right?
You hit the nail on the head, and that is like, it's the perfect storm for being an entrepreneur, which is just the messiest, most unpredictable job in the world.
Right.
And what's funny is I was just reminded of, I was listening to a podcast with Grant Cardone, who is just,
I'm interviewing him. I'm literally interviewing him.
Not congratulations. That's
Yeah.
big time.
I know, in 2 days. But yeah, I'm going.
Oh my goodness, you must be nervous.
I know, I'm going to he's like renting some like house or something in England, and yeah, I'm going there in 2 days. But that's going to be the next podcast episode, people. So hit that subscribe, So yeah, anyway.
And I'm the warm up for it, guys.
Yeah.
Well, I have to tell you, Lauren, I rented a yacht for us to go on, but it's a bit choppy out on the ocean today, so I decided we'll just do it over here. But anyway, I was listening to a podcast with him, and he's talking about taking action. He was like, Instagram, here, I'll post on Instagram right now. I'll take out my phone, take a selfie, post on Instagram. Bam, I don't even like that photo, but it's up. And I was like, whoa, hold the phone. When I post on Instagram, I'm like stopping traffic. I'm like, everyone stop talking, stop blinking. Nobody move a muscle. I need to spend 80 years putting up this Instagram photo. And then Grant Cardone, one of the most successful men in the world, does that. What does that go to show us? Just take action, do. Tomorrow's never gonna come. One day is never gonna come. Every time you say tomorrow, you're putting a nail in the coffin of the dreams that will never come true, because tomorrow never comes. All we have is today. Take action today.
Boom, literally, just like, yeah, that's the mindset that you need, though. I honestly think, I don't know how you feel about this, but I think there's kind of two sides to the camp, and I feel like the middle ground is kind of a bit empty. So there's some people who are like, take action, like Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, go. And then there's obviously people who are like, okay, let's just like manifest it, and let's just like, like, I don't really know too much about that side of things. I personally have seen success with like the hardcore mindset, like masculine energy, like go. If you're getting burnt out, it means that perhaps you're doing something that you're not in alignment with. I honestly believe, to deep down inside, if I'm getting burnt out for some reason, it's because I am not in alignment with my work and I'm not feeling good about what I'm doing. Because here's the thing, right? I personally believe, like, I love what I do so much. I was literally up here in my office, bearing in mind I'm someone who needs my sleep and I like to go to bed early. I was up in my office last night until literally 11:48 at night. And for me, that's late, right? So I wake up in the morning at like 5:45, 6. So that was pretty intense for me, but I didn't even realize it was so late because I love what I was doing so much. So what do you think about that? And do you think that, yeah, I don't know, I guess that's kind of what I want to get at there. What do you think about that type of mindset?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you that when I heard you talking about that, what popped up in my mind was sales. Because when I started with sales, I was a baby giraffe. I had no idea what I was doing. I was so apprehensive. And what I learned was that when you fall in love with your product and what you're selling and your service, sales becomes a game of love. And every time I get on the phone with somebody, what it used to be is I would get on the phone with somebody and I'd be so nervous. I was so apprehensive. It was just, I had never been in this realm before. I'm a math education major and I just didn't know what I was doing. And then I ran the program. I saw the results. People said, you're changing my life. And I was like, whoa, this is intense. I fell in love with what I was doing, and sales turned into an opportunity to change somebody's life. That 15 minutes that I'm on the phone with somebody, I get so excited for, because I know their life is about to change forever in these next 15 minutes. And when you come with it, when you go to sales with that sort of mindset, you know that what you're doing is pure, and it's driven by what you love and by passion. And I'm like you, I could stay up till 2:00 in the morning doing this stuff because it's something that I love. And who would have thought that you can make a living off of doing something that you love? and you really, really can. And I know that you listening to this podcast, you're like, oh, yeah, that happened for them. They got lucky. No, guys, I was a 24-year-old geometry teacher, 23-year-old geometry teacher in Boston. I'm a regular gal, just like you. It can happen for anybody, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. You can make it happen.
It's so true. And I think it's so easy to see people online and just think, yeah, but they're a YouTuber. That's why they can do this. But guess what? They haven't always been a YouTuber. Like, they didn't come out the womb as a YouTuber. They decided to make a YouTube channel, and then not just make a YouTube channel, also build a business off of that. And so what do you associate yourself more with? I know you did introduce yourself as an entrepreneur, but would you say you're more of an entrepreneur or a YouTuber? Like, how do you kind of align yourself?
That's a really great question. And it's difficult for me to answer because I am so clean cut. I like to have, one title. I like things to fit in a box. And if I've learned anything about entrepreneurship, that is not the case. So, man, you threw me a tough one.
Yeah, it's a good question because, like, I obviously am asked this a lot as well. I see myself far more as an entrepreneur than as a YouTuber. But then that's when you're asking between an entrepreneur and a YouTuber. Like, if I was to really say to myself, Lauren, are you an entrepreneur or a content creator? Like, I would say I'm probably a content creator because that's why I started. Like, I started when I was 16 posting content. Like, I didn't start ever imagining that this was a business. However, when people think about entrepreneur, like, they probably think Lauren Tickner because I am such like a hardcore entrepreneur. So I think it's a really interesting one. And I'm the same as you. I think that I actually can't really pick between either of them because I am so much both the entrepreneur and the content creator. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough question. I mean, I started out just as a plain old YouTuber, and I always said, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a YouTuber. But if there's something I learned from you, Lauren, it's that, okay, you can be a YouTuber, but what are you going to do for a living? And
brand deal.
Exactly. And how does a brand deal change somebody's life? How does saying, this is the toothpaste I use, this is the moisturizer I use, how is that changing people's lives? What is changing people's lives is building a business off of your YouTube, doing something that you love that changes the lives of others. If I took the whole just YouTuber route, doing brand deals here and there, people would say, oh, I found a new hair product, I found a new skincare product. But I didn't do that because of you, Lauren. You taught me how to build a business that was going to impact people and change lives. And now I've had hundreds of clients who have lost massive amounts of weight and have a new life because of my YouTube channel, because of the business that I built. So my heart, it started with me being a YouTuber, and then I was opened up to the idea of being an entrepreneur, which once again is just bananas to me, being a math teacher. And now here I am as an entrepreneur changing lives. It's
yes.
Crazy.
Oh my God.
I think I forgot to mention exactly the program that we created together, which I'm a vegan nutritionist. And I help people lose weight on a plant-based diet while eating as much food as they want, no calorie counting, no restriction, no nada. And I remember the exact moment that Lauren helped me create the name. I remember very vividly. We were texting on WhatsApp and I was chopping my potatoes and I looked down and in all capital letters you wrote, the Eat As Much As You Want plant-based lifestyle program. And I was like, yes. I think my neighbors probably thought, like, what the heck is going on next door? Because I was like, yes, that is it. So Lauren gets the credit for the name.
I love it. Yes. I mean, honestly, when it came to me, I was like, because Emmie's whole thing is like, firstly, she's not one of those vegans who's like shoving it down your throat the whole time. She's like super, I don't know, just not like that. And so obviously that's what I loved about actually helping you create this, because you're helping people create something that's sustainable for them. And so her whole thing is that she's teaching people how to live a plant-based lifestyle whereby they can literally eat as much food as they want. They don't have to track macros or anything because of your method of eating, right? And so Emmie was always like saying, eat as much as you want. And like, I was like, okay, how can I do this? And then I was like, wait, imagine if we said it is the eat as much as you want plant-based lifestyle. I was like, this is genius. Because basically the reason why I really thought that was good is because it's getting people to imagine what their life could be like. And it's also having the word you in it. So it's not like saying, I'm going to teach you how to eat as much as you want. It's literally them being able to become, it becomes like it changes their identity, right? And when you can change someone's identity, then that's when you have a winning kind of name or a winning product or a winning program. Because now your people are becoming people who identify themselves as people who are able to eat as much as they want thanks to your program. And so that's why it's super powerful. And so I think maybe what we should talk about is actually like how we were able to create such a scalable model. Because I know before you said like, okay, you were doing one-on-one coaching. Firstly, I want to ask, do you think that doing that one-on-one coaching was a good thing before you actually went ahead and created this more scalable program? Or do you think it would have been wise for you to have gone straight into the scalable program?
Something that I really struggled with was, who the heck is my ideal client? I heard this all the time on podcasts. Find your ideal client, write down who they are. And I was like, I have no idea who my ideal client is. And I didn't realize who my ideal client was until I worked with a handful of people, found out what I liked, and then found out what really, really I was good at and what really lit me up. And from working with a handful of people before actually launching my program, I discovered where I thrived, which was helping older women lose excess weight. And that became my ideal client. And knowing that made my program a massive success. So working with people one-on-one before was hugely beneficial to realizing who my ideal client was.
Yeah, it's so funny because that's actually the podcast episode that I have coming out. But as at the time that we're recording this on June 5th, on June 6th, I literally have a podcast episode coming out about that, like how you should start with doing one-on-one first, which is so funny. But funnily enough though, when you and I started working together and I was helping you build out your program, well, we weren't actually clear on that, were we? Because we didn't start with it being a weight loss program. So I remember vividly actually being, again, talking to you on WhatsApp, and I remember like, Emmie was just like having one of those days. It was like a hard day for you. And I don't remember exactly what happened, but I feel like you were just getting frustrated about something. And I was like,
it was the day that my mom left. My mom came to visit me in Australia, and you called me right after she left, and I was just all over the place.
Yeah, so Emmie was like having a bit of a tough time, and so like I obviously like care about my clients so much. So I was like, right, we got to call her. Like, let's just give her a random call. Like, she's not expecting this, but I feel like she just needs a bit of a shoulder to cry on. So literally, like, I phoned you up, and so we just had a chat for a bit, and then I don't really remember exactly what happened after that. I was then walking, and I had to go on another call, and we had just spoken on the phone for about 45 minutes or so. And I literally, when I was on my next call, I said to the guy, hold up. I just need to hang up.
Let me call you back.
I was like, can I call you back in a sec? I literally hang up the phone. I call Emmie back again. I was like, oh my God, Emmie, here's what we need to do. We need to make your program a fat loss program. Like a weight loss program. And then, yeah, everything, we just changed it. I think that's what happened, right?
That is what happened. And I'll tell you why, is that I knew I was good at that, but I was afraid. I was afraid to make another weight loss program because in this day and age, you know, being a 24-year-old girl and doing the weight loss thing, it's a little taboo because, you know, it's all about health, and weight loss is something that people don't want to talk about as much anymore. We want to talk about more about health and this, that. But the fact of the matter is that there are older women who need to lose extra weight. And for me to be good at that and to not put that into the world to help other people because I'm afraid that people would talk about me and be like, oh, why is she doing a weight loss program? That's very selfish. And I needed to put my fears aside of people talking about me doing a weight loss program. I needed to push that to the side because I needed to be focused more so on changing so many people's lives and having that be the focus and not being selfishly fearful of what people would say about me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with this. I actually was on someone else's podcast about this literally yesterday, talking about it. It was, funnily enough, a podcast about manifestation called with this girl called like Ashley. Anyway, and so we were talking about, yeah, not being afraid about what people think about you. And a perfect example of this is like, a good example of your content is you talking about weight loss, right? A good example for my content, which is kind of like the hook style content, is making money, because I want to help people make money. Now, here's the thing. Realistically, we all know that you get to a certain level whereby you're beyond making money now. It's no longer like the life or death thing, which is what when I was working with you, Emmy, it was like we needed to make you money so that you could literally quit your job and actually pay your bills. Whereas like you get to a certain level, and we can talk about whether you're there yet in a minute, but you get to a certain level whereby you're like, okay, I just want to impact people now. Like, it's not about money anymore. But sometimes you need to talk about the weight loss at the beginning or the money making at the beginning, because that hooks people and it gets them in and it gets them interested. And so I made a post where I was saying my income since the beginning of the year, and I've been able to generate over 100K in pounds. I posted that, and I was literally terrified about what people were going to think about me. But then I realized that if I was able to put that message out there and get that in front of people, that would help them realize, oh my God, this is possible for me too. Even people who never imagined that it was possible for them. And so I just think that in order to succeed in life, like, you have to realize that people are going to talk about you. And I know that you did have experience with people who were trying to hold you back and tear you down, but guess what? Those people who are trying to hold you back and tear you down, often they're competitors, or often they're people who just think, oh, well, it's all right for her, or oh, she's able to achieve it because of this, or people who are just simply insecure about their lives. Now, I heard Gary Vee say something along the lines of like, him feeling real sorry for the people that are just sitting there trolling away, typing evil comments. And YouTube is the worst for that, by the way. You get awful comments on YouTube, but they're saddos. They're literally like, they're losers. Show someone who, like, find me someone who is who's more successful than you, who's trying to tear you down. Do you know what I mean? Like, people who are more successful than you, they're not going to tear you down. And if they have something to say, the people who are actually successful and who are actually good humans, who genuinely are doing bigger and better things than you, they will direct message you and they'll mentor you on it, rather than tearing you down publicly and naming and shaming you. So that's what I want to say on that. And so how did you actually overcome this?
Well, something that I learned is that when people try to tear you down, it's just showing that they're below you. If they try to pull you down, that they're just below you.
Yeah.
And we would care so little if we knew how little people cared. At the end of the day, the people that say things about us, when they go to sleep, they're not thinking about us. They're thinking about themselves. And who is thinking about us? The people that say, oh my God, I put on my jeans this morning and they fit. I just had some intimate time with my husband and it was wonderful and I felt confident and good. Thank you so much, Emmie, for helping me feel this way. That's what matters, the people that are thinking that. And something else that you said about how, people that are successful will try to help you become more successful. That comes from the mindset shift that success is the bottomless drink and there's no drinking age. You're never too young, you're never too old, and it's only too late if you don't start today. Everybody can have success. There's enough success to go around. It doesn't dry up. It's something that you can create yourself. And so if you come to success and money with a scarcity mindset, that's when you're going to become competitive and try to tear other people down. But when you stop spending energy on all that stuff and focus on creating your own success, you realize that there really is more than enough success to go around, and that you don't have to be so competitive and try to tear other people down, because everybody can become successful. I was a victim to thinking that the success drink had dried up and that it was all gone. And let me tell you, that was not the case. And that became apparent to me very quickly, to the point where I had to leave my job as a teacher because I was drinking a lot of the success drink. I needed to sip some waters.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, there's enough success, there's enough opportunity, there's enough money, there's enough anything except time. Like, there's just not enough time.
Mm-hmm.
And so the longer you wait, the more of the time that you're giving up. Whereas here's the thing, right? I honestly believe that they always kind of, all these like manifest, we were talking about it earlier, but people who talk about like manifestation and stuff, they talk about like energy, right? And that everything's energy, let's just say. And it's the same thing goes with like money. The same thing goes with opportunities. It's always going to be there. Whether it goes to you or whether it goes to someone else is down to you. It just has, you just have to put yourself out there, and you just have to actually take the initiative to take action. So your first step could be just to get one client, or it could to be to get your certification so that you can actually take on clients. It could be to go tell your friends that you're starting a business. Like whatever small step it is, it's at least a step. Because if you don't do anything, like you can listen to this podcast and say, oh, I'm listening to business podcasts. Oh, I'm getting information on how I can scale my business. That's nothing. That literally means nothing. You're consuming content. Don't be a content whore. Go actually take some action, right? It's so easy. You don't need more content. You need more implementation. And so that's what I have seen to be true for everyone, no matter what. You can always do more. And I think the thing that I've realized, Emmy, like you are very hardworking, by the way. You are just about the only person who I've ever met who is as hardworking as me. Like, that's it. But I mean, the thing is, though, that's why you've been able to have success so quickly. People think they're working hard, but then they see someone like me, they see someone like you, and they realize that it's nothing. And honestly, I'm not like saying that to brag or anything. It's just a fact of truth. Like, I work bloody hard, but I don't mind working hard because I frigging love what I do. So talk to me about your work ethic and how you've been able to accomplish that work ethic, even though it's still so new to you.
Right. So when you said that I was the girl with the, the color coordinated Post-it notes and the stickers and the pens and all that, you hit the nail on the head. I was, a straight A student. I graduated with summa cum laude, all straight A's. And I was just always the girl that had everything organized, type A, this, that, and the other. I was very good at school.
Okay, so let me just tell you right now, like for anyone listening, obviously Emmy and I are both like freaking hardworking. I wasn't like that at all. Like I was not organized. I never handed in my homework. I always got in trouble at school. I have had detention. I was like always disrupting the class, like laughing in the corner, shouting out, being annoying, getting kicked out. I never got suspended or expelled or anything, but I was a right old pain in the ass. So you don't have to just be like how Emmy was to be successful. And similarly, you don't have to just be like a dropout like me to be successful. Because I dropped out.
And I'll tell you what, I was like class president, and then I'm having a podcast with my coach who is a dropout from uni, who is wildly successful and younger than I am. But in any event, you taught me, Lauren, something so unbelievably important that I was doing completely wrong. I did not realize the difference between being busy and being productive. I could do things all the live long day that were working on the business. We're on video right now, but I'm doing air quotes, quote unquote, working on the business. But it wasn't moving the needle forward. I wasn't doing anything that was being put out to the world. I would create content and it would live in a folder on my computer. Or I would listen to podcasts all the live long day and then be like, wow, that day was darn productive. But who would know that I was doing that? I had to put things out into the world. I had to move the needle forward. So yes, I mean, I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, go for a run, work on my business for an hour, go to school all day, work on the business all day after school. But it wasn't until I started working with Lauren that I realized that that hour has to put something out into the world that's actually going to help people. And it's going to be messy and it's not going to feel perfect. But Lauren was like, just trust me. I promise you. I gave literally my life to Lauren in a little box tied up. And she just ripped the bow off and poured all the contents out because she was ready to go. But I would take messy action every single second that I had. Literally, lunch break at school, which was like 14 minutes, I would pull out my laptop and I was, on my Facebook group monitoring it. Every single second I had, I was putting things out into the world.
Yeah, you were putting things out, building those relationships. So firstly, I just want to say I'm the exact same. Like whenever I go get on a train, like if I'm cooking food that's gonna take 5 minutes, I'm just doing something that's proactive rather than just like being passive. A great example is, even though this is still something that's passive, but if you're at the beginning stages where you don't know what to take action on, something super simple that you can do is you can literally listen to podcasts while you're cooking food, while you're walking somewhere. Like, actively be learning and actually be listening. But then after you listen to a podcast episode, I'm the same as you. I listen to some episodes again and again. I'll listen to it once through while I'm in the gym or something. I'll listen to it again when I'm actually back at home ready to take notes, and then I'll listen to it again as I'm implementing it. Like, don't just listen to something once, listen to it multiple times. So that's one thing. Second thing I want to ask you upon that is, okay, so these tasks, these income generating tasks, these impact generating tasks, what type of things were you doing to make sure that you were actually going to be moving forward?
I'm just going to think.
Okay. I love the suspense. I'm going to leave it in. I'm not editing it out. I love it.
Because I really want to make sure that I give these listeners actionable steps. The worst thing was when I would get on a podcast, I would hear everything and then I wouldn't have any actionable steps to take from it.
You literally sound like me. Like, it's actually too funny. Emmie's my perfect, like my model student who I'm just like showcasing to the world.
Well, you know, I came to you like Play-Doh, Lauren, because I was like, I know nothing about business. Mold me, make me. I knew nothing, guys, literally nothing. Math education. I am a baby giraffe, and here I am with my own business. So you can do it. But here's my actionable step for people that are listening to the podcast is reach out to people. Go onto Instagram right now, search the hashtags of your ideal client, and just start messaging those people and building connections. Go on to YouTube channels for the people that are going to be in your community and reply back to their comments. Build community with these people. And honestly, if you don't even know what to say to these people, just say, hey, this might be kind of weird and I don't really know what to say, but I just want to build a connection with you because I see that we're interested in the same thing. I know it sounds weird, but messy action. The only action you're gonna regret taking is the action that you don't take. You know, Mark Twain said 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than the ones that you did do. So just message people, DM people, go on Instagram. And hey, when you know, we were just talking about when you're cooking your dinner, listen to a podcast. Here's another thing. You're cooking your dinner, go on your Instagram story and show people what you're cooking. Pull up a video and take a video of it and be like, hey guys, I'm cooking this up right now. People love that stuff. Start documenting your life. You don't have to plan everything out and make it all grandiose. Literally just live your life. Go on Instagram story and document it, and people will become interested in you. And DM with them, message with them, comment on their stuff, and start building connections.
Yeah, it's like we didn't plan this podcast at all. Emmy messaged me like twice before this. She's like, Lauren, do we need to plan anything? And then she messaged me.
I'm so type A. I'm so organized. And it is like it's oil and water for being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and I'm just like, Emmy, it's okay. I'm going to think about it at the weekend. Totally forgot to think about it at the weekend. And then we get to Sunday. She's like, Lauren, like, do I need to plan anything? I was like, no, honey, it's fine. I got it. We jump on this chat just before and I'm like, right, okay, here's what I'm thinking. Like, I just thought about it just a bit before. But that's the cool thing. I mean, I honestly believe that the best content is content that you just kind of freestyle. You know, you just put it out there. When I've created content and like proactively made things that I've had a specific outcome and storyline for it, it's always flopped. Like, it has literally always flopped. And then when I just go about my life and I just make like random videos and stuff, people love it. And that's what people want to see. And so, yeah, I couldn't be more in agreement with you. Be a creator, not a consumer. Like, that's the biggest thing. Because the people whose content you're consuming, they're creating, they're not consuming. You're looking up to them. You're looking up to people and you're being like, oh, I want to be like them. But you're not being like them because you're not actually doing what you're doing. For sure, you're listening to what they're saying, but you're not actually emulating what they're doing because what they're doing is different to what you're doing. And so when you have that realization, then I think it will actually persuade you to take action. And if you don't know where to post content, oh, what platform should I use? Well, I have a YouTube video on that, so go check that one out. So Emmie, I really would just love to ask you, is there anything that you particularly wanted to actually bring up and talk about here before we start wrapping this conversation up? Now, listeners, don't click away because the end of the podcast is always where the magic happens. So keep listening right now.
Yeah, so what I want to say to the people listening to this podcast is if you have a little voice in your head that's saying, well, they got there because, you know, they were lucky, or they had something that I didn't have. I I'm so guilty of having that little voice too. And I would look at people, I would listen to people on podcasts and be like, well, there's just something that they have that got them there that I just won't have. Or I'd see people that were successful on YouTube and I would be I'm the first to say it, I was so jealous of all those YouTubers that were vlogging their life. And I'm like, oh, why did they get to do that? Like, how come they get to do it? Nobody went up to them and said, hey, you're going to be a YouTuber. Nobody went up to these people that are successful. Nobody went up to you, Lauren, and said, Lauren Tickner, you're going to be the Lauren Tickner of Impact School. You're going to be a multiple six-figure earner in your early 20s. No, I remember you saying on a podcast.
No, I'm going to be a multiple seven-figure earner in my 20s.
Heck yeah, girl. Exactly. You're going to be the next Forbes 30 under 30. But I remember you even saying on your podcast once, you were like, I'm just a girl from Surrey. Guys, I'm just a girl from Boston. I'm a baby giraffe with a degree in math education. And I'm now an entrepreneur, which is just bananas to me. And
it's just like, it's so cool, honestly, like seeing this, like you kind of acting like this, because I saw it in you, but like you obviously didn't see it in yourself, like when we first started together, because you're so mind blown by this. Oh my God, it looks like you're like crying. Seriously, it's so cool because you can like this. I wish people would hear us as we're saying this. Like you can.
I know. Like literally, stop. You have permission to stop listening to this podcast and go take messy action right now. But you have to come back to the podcast and start listening to it. But take action. Like literally, go on you listening to this podcast right now. Stop your car. Stop your run. Take out your Instagram story and just make a story about something. Take some messy action because you can have this life, and believe in yourself and invest in yourself because you can have it. I just cannot say that enough. And I need to say it to the point that you actually take this action because you can have this life. I was literally a full-time teacher like 2 months ago. And now I'm a solopreneur and making triple the income I was making as a teacher. And it's nuts. It feels like a dream. And I'm so blessed to have Lauren to have helped me do this for me. So for the people listening to this podcast, if you listen to the podcast, you know about Lauren's products, why haven't you invested yet? Because you can change your life. Literally.
I might just hire you. Like, I think I might actually just hire you to be like, I'm like, okay, right, hang on. So you have your own business. Well, do you want to become a sales rep? Like,
no, but for real, guys, if you just take action, sign up for her program and do the things that she says, and it works. The system works when you work it, so work it.
Yeah, but I think that's the cool thing though. I mean, it's like you with your clients as well, like you have a system now. So basically it's like a productized service that you've created. That's pretty much what I do help people create inside the Impact Incubator. But I think honestly, people need to do some one-on-one coaching first. Like you need to do that first. If you want to take messy action right now, I think the best thing to do is what Emmie said, go DM like 20 people. Once you've done it, make a little group chat with Emmie and I on Instagram DMs. We want to hear about it.
I give them like a funny thing to say, like a funny little saying so that we know what it is.
Yeah, maybe like a GIF. How do you say it? A GIF?
How about baby giraffe? Because that's been
baby giraffe. I love it. Yes, that's
but you guys might be wondering, like, Emmie, why are you promoting all of Lauren's stuff? Like, why are you giving her so many, like, why are you telling us to go with her stuff? Because there's enough success to go around. I can say, go sign up for Lauren's program, because she can get tons of success and I can get tons of success and you can get tons of success. Start bringing up other people, and rising tides raise all ships. So that's why I'm so pro Lauren and telling you guys to invest in her, because I know that she can get tons of success, and that doesn't mean that I get any less success.
Yo guys, if I'm just gonna give it straight back to Emmie. If anyone wants to lose weight on a plant-based lifestyle and eat as much as you want, well, go sign up to work with her. But seriously though, I mean, I couldn't agree more. Like, how do you define success?
Success in my eyes has become, they say that when somebody else's happiness is your happiness, that is love. And that is when I truly felt success in my program. I remember the first time somebody said to me, Emmy, you changed my life. And that was it for me. I was like, this is what I've been called to do. And when you feel that feeling that your clients have, that is success. When you can feel their success and their happiness, you know that you're doing something right.
I couldn't agree more. And do you think that's how you always saw success?
Absolutely not. I grew up with a terrible money mindset, save every penny, delayed gratification, work till you die. Success for me was, it was something scary, and it's what kept me paralyzed for a long time, and just having such a terrible money mindset. And money is bad, success is for the greedy, in the 1%. And I've learned that, making money and being successful, when it's rooted in love, it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it's my life has so much changed. Lauren, I can only imagine what this is like for you, seeing me where I am right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you for helping me build this life. But you just see me do a 180 in a matter of like 6 months, which is
Literally like a full-on like 180, 360, move halfway back across the world again, like, just casual, quit your job.
literally like, the other side of the world and back.
Yeah, it's so cool because like exactly what you're saying now about when you said how your client said like you changed my life. That's exactly what like I see when I see you saying all this. So it's so freaking cool. And yeah, I mean that's the cool thing. I think there truly is enough success in this world for everyone, and I think that's definitely something which I really like to reiterate again and again and again inside of my community, because sharing is caring, right? Like for example, when I hear an amazing podcast by another business mentor or online marketing person, I share it. Like literally yesterday I shared one on my story from Russell Brunson. Like he's teaching people how to do marketing. In the future he'll probably do courses similar to what I have. Like, yeah, so what? I want people to learn. I want people to get to their success. If I'm able to be a part of that, then that's awesome. If people get it out simply just from my free content, then fine. Like I really don't know how to say this clearly, but you really do get to a point where it's not any longer about the money. And money is just simply a way to kind of like, I heard someone say it one time. I'll never be able to say it as eloquently as they did, but it's like a way to pretty much like monitor your success, right? Because like you have to track it in some way. You can track it by number of clients, but at the same time, I truly believe that the more people invest, like the more they're willing to actually have skin in the game and actually take action. So have you found that to be true with your clients? Because I know when we first started out, you were charging like nothing for your one-on-one coaching. You were giving them your everything. Now you obviously have a high ticket program, and your clients are like super committed. So how has that changed for you?
Right. So like you said, I mean, my prices have increased fivefold since I've started. So that's a very large percentage that's increased. But the transformation is in the transaction. And that was the case when I was with you, Lauren, was, I had to make a lot of money in order to break even. And then I had to make enough money to pay my bills and enough money to make money to eat food. And I was financially tied to changing. I had to change because I financially committed myself to that. And I know something that Tim Ferriss, I think, does is when he wants to make a change, he'll write a check for like 100 grand and he'll say, if I don't make this change, then cash this check to this charity. When you invest a lot of money in something, you've invested that you're going to change. And so something that I learned is that if I want my clients to get results, I need them to be committed to this. And having it be a high ticket program is what's going to make them get those results. And you so badly do want to help people, and you want to help everybody. And it's so hard to not bring down your prices because you do want to help so many people, as many people as you can. But on the other side of that is the mindset that we've been talking about. Just as there's as much success to go around, there's 7 billion people in this world, guys. And if a few people cannot afford to do your program at this time, then there's 10 times that many people who can and who are willing to. And for the people that can't do your program, that's why you have tiers. you have your high ticket program. Oh, but if you can't afford this right now, here's something else that I can offer you for the meantime until we can work together. But it tremendously changed my business by having a high ticket item. And it made it so that it was the real freaking deal. It wasn't just a side gig anymore. This is my life now.
Yeah, because then it was like 2 sales to go above your monthly.
Right. Yeah.
Which is mad, which is so cool. But also I think like people are afraid to push their prices up. But I actually believe that if you have low prices, there's going to be low perceived value. Like if your price was, let's just say like $100 for your program, people would think, oh my God, it's $100. Like, cool, like that's cheap. It must be rubbish. And they would, honestly, I think actually having low prices can truly damage your credibility. And so, yeah, you want to be a Ferrari instead of a Golf or a Micra. I don't know if you guys have them over there, which is like a rubbish car. So that's like how I like to look at things. And yeah, I just want to say I'm so proud of you, and you're absolutely crushing it, helping so many people, and it is so cool to see how you've shifted like over the past 2 months.
I know, it's nuts. It's nuts. A year ago today, I was in my classroom teaching 14-year-olds the Pythagorean theorem. And today I'm on a NASDAQ top 10 podcast with a soon-to-be 7-figure earner in her 20s who taught me everything I know. So thank you, Lauren. It's been such a pleasure.
No, it's awesome. And I just really want people to realize like that it doesn't have to be complicated either. I mean, there is nothing complicated about your business. You're still one man, right? Have you employed anyone yet?
It's a one-man show here.
Yeah, so you're a production company because you have YouTube. You're a coaching company because you coach people. You do organization because of your business, like you have to have back-end stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the important thing to realize is like, for sure, you can get to 6 figures by doing it by yourself. Now, when you want to scale to multiple 6 figures and beyond, that's when you might want to bring on team members. But you can definitely hit 6 figures by yourself. You can definitely make this a reality, honestly, and it just starts with taking that action. So thank you so much for reiterating that and for helping people to realize that they can do it for themselves too. Because yeah, like I feel like people see us like on the internet, and just because for some reason like we're on the internet we're different to other people, but really like we're just right now we're creating free content literally with the purpose of helping people realize that they can do this for themselves too. I am honestly so committed to helping people realize that, because I have been in that job that literally sucked the life out of me. And that's why I'm dedicating my life now to helping people actually build their own business so they can have freedom and fulfillment. Because I know what it feels like to not be free, and I know what it feels like to not be fulfilled in a job. And life is freaking too short. So I hope that this has motivated people to not just think, oh wow, I want my own business, but also to actually take action on it. Because if you don't take action, nothing's going to happen, and we've been this to death now. So yeah, thank you for coming.
Well, let me just say one more thing, Lauren, is when I would listen to your podcast and watch your YouTube videos, I'd be like, I literally thought the same thing about you. I was like, oh, well, she gets that lifestyle because, and I couldn't even finish the sentence. I was like, that's what she gets to do because she just gets it. She's just a YouTuber. She's a podcaster. That's her thing. And I was jealous of that. And then I realized that if you want the success that somebody else has had, do everything that they do. So I went to Lauren and I was like, what do I do?
Yeah, you literally did. You were like, I remember you texting me like multiple times saying like, I am literally just going to do exactly what you say.
Literally, I was like, I am is it Backstreet Boys or NSYNC? I can't remember when they're like the little, what are those? The marionette dolls. I was like, I'm your little marionette doll. Tell me exactly what to do and I'll do it.
Like a string puppet. Yeah, for sure. No, it's awesome. And honestly, I hope that everyone goes to follow you. You are just Healthy Emmie on Instagram. If you just type that into YouTube, you'll find it. I'm going to leave everything linked in the show notes. I'm also going to leave a link to your program so people can actually see the program that you've created. Maybe some of them, they can invest in it and they can actually get that transformation if they're looking to lose that body weight, or if they're just looking to spy and see what we created together. Maybe that could be a way for you to figure out what type of business to create. That would actually be kind of smart,
Yeah, So yeah, Healthy Emmy, and it's Emmie
Yes,
on
awesome.
Insta.
Emmie, thank you so much for coming on the show. I've loved having you here, and it's been so good chatting to you.
Thank you, Lauren, and go take action, guys, and sign up with Lauren.
Do it and send us a DM once you've done it. And yeah, if you've enjoyed this, just take a screenshot and just like let us know what your biggest golden nugget moment was. Like, what did you take away? Maybe you could go ahead and listen to this again. But once you figure that out, just go back and take a screenshot of the episode, post it onto your story, and just write your number one key learning, or write what it is that you're going to be taking action on. Because here's the thing, if you literally take a screenshot of this, tag me at Lauren Tickner, tag at Healthy Emmy, and at impact_school, the cool thing that's going to happen is that you're then putting it out into the world, which means that you're committing to it. You are going to be held accountable because people are going to see that you're doing that thing, and Emmie and I can hold you accountable too. So that is your action plan for right now. Go ahead and do it. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Impact School. This has been awesome, and Emmie, I've loved having you on. So go ahead, take that action, and you'll thank us in 2 months.
That's right. Bye, guys.